Hey, so if you're visiting Israel right now, walking its ancient streets, maybe hiking through its hills, this is for you. We're about to dig into a deeper meaning behind the very land that's under your feet, to see it as way more than just a place on a map, but as the heart of an incredible story.
So let's just dive right in with an ancient puzzle from the Torah. It's a question that honestly seems to defy all logic. But the answer holds the key to understanding the profound, almost unbelievable importance of this land.
Okay, just look at this. It's kind of nuts, right? On one hand, you've got the golden calf. I mean, that's blatant idolatry, one of the worst things you can imagine. And yet, after Moses prays, God forgives them. But on the other hand, the spies just come back with a negative report, the people get scared, and the punishment is an entire generation is barred from entering the land. It feels so lopsided. Why would a bad report be punished more harshly than worshiping a false god?
To solve this mystery, we first have to take a look at the way we usually think about the Torah and its laws. It's a pretty common view, but as we're about to see, it might be missing the bigger picture.
You know, a lot of us are taught to see the Torah as a kind of divine rule book. It's a guide with 613 commandments, or mitzvot, telling us how to live, what to eat, when to rest, basically the ultimate instruction manual for a righteous life.
Now, if the Torah is just a list of rules, then settling the land of Israel is simply one of those 613 rules. Yeah, it's a really big one for sure, but it's still just one on a long list. And from that rulebook perspective, God's extreme, generation-ending reaction to the spies report, well, it makes absolutely no sense.
And this question right here, this is where everything changes. It's an invitation to completely shift our perspective, to see the Torah not as a list of things to do, but as something else, something much bigger, a story.
So let's try on this new framework. What if we see the Torah as a covenant, a story about a relationship? Because this changes how we see everything, especially the land itself.
Okay, here it is. This is the key. The Torah isn't mainly a rule book, it's a covenant book, a sefer habrit. It doesn't just list a bunch of actions, it actually describes a relationship, a deep, binding, foundational relationship between God and the Jewish people.
This analogy just says it all, doesn't it? A marriage isn't a contract that lists who takes out the trash. It's the story of a shared life. The Torah is that kind of story. It's the story of God searching for a partner in this world.
And when you see it this way, the book of Genesis reads totally differently. It's not just a collection of random stories, it's the story of that search. It starts with Adam's failure, goes through the flood, and then finally, God finds a partner in Abraham. And at Mount Sinai, that partnership becomes official with all of Abraham's descendants. A covenant is sealed. It's basically a wedding.
So if the Torah is the story of this massive relationship, this grand covenant, then what's the role of the land of Israel in that whole story?
Well, this covenant is a two-way street. Our part is to live by the commandments. That's our commitment, our side of the deal. But God also has a part in this agreement. God makes a promise, and that promise is the land. It's the divine gift, the physical space for this relationship to actually happen.
This right here is the absolute heart of it. The commandments are the things we do inside the marriage. But the land is the home. It's the place where we are meant to live together with God. And refusing the home isn't like breaking a house rule, it's rejecting the entire idea of a shared life.
And this idea is even built into the language. Living outside the land, in Shutz La'aretz, is described as being on a trip, a tiyul. You can still be in the relationship, sure, but you're not fully home. But being here, in Eretz Yisrael, this is habayit, the home. This is where the divine presence and blessing are meant to be in their absolute fullest form.
So with this new lens, seeing the Torah as a covenant book and the land as our shared home, let's go all the way back to our original puzzle and see how it just clicks into place.
Look, the sin of the golden calf was awful, no doubt about it. You could say it was like a terrible act of infidelity inside a marriage. It wounded the relationship deeply, but it didn't completely destroy it. The basic framework, the commitment to the home, was still there, which is why there was a path to forgiveness and repair.
But the sin of the spies was something else entirely. When the people heard that report and cried out, "Let's pick a new leader and go back to Egypt," they weren't just breaking a rule. They were rejecting the home.
They're essentially telling God, we'll accept our obligations, but we reject your gift. We don't want your side of this deal. It was, for all intents and purposes, a request for a divorce. They were telling the groom they refused to move into the house he had built just for them.
And that's exactly why the consequence was so final for that generation. It wasn't a punishment for being disobedient. It was the natural result of dissolving the relationship. If you reject the very foundation of the covenant, the home, then the covenant itself can't continue with you. A new generation was needed to rebuild that trust.
So, as you continue your journey here, remember this. Every ancient stone, every modern street, it's all part of this home. You aren't just a tourist in a foreign country. You are literally standing on the center stage of a 4,000-year-old love story, the physical proof of a covenant. So the question isn't just what do you see here, but what does it feel like to finally be home?